Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. I have here some books from my childhood. I was born in 1970, and these were books that were given to me by my mom, I think. And I thought we could just look through them and talk about them a little bit. They are books by Arnold Lobel, and my very favorite are the Frog and Toad series of books. So I'll just move these out of the way so you can't see them all at once. And we'll look at them individually. I made this video already once last week, and the sound got all corrupted. I don't know. I kind of know what happened. I tried to fix something, and it ended up making it worse. So, whatever. What brought this to my attention? Another ASMR creator. Her channel name is Kemosyn, Kemosyn ASMR. She was showing a haul of t-shirts that she got for her children, but she also bought herself a Frog and Toad t-shirt. And I was like, I have Frog and Toad socks. Well, I went on a deep search for those socks, and I think they were a gift from my sister years ago, like a few years ago. I think they were so thin, like nylon almost, that I just never wore them, and I think I got rid of them. So I can't show the Frog and Toad socks, but I do have the Frog and Toad books. And this is Frog, and this is Toad, and they're friends. And here they are building a froggy snowman. And let's see. There's the cover, which is still in good shape, but I have all the cover protectors. This book was published in 1976, so I was 6 years old. And these were kind of the first books that I learned to read, I think. I learned to read with these books. And they're just like feel-good, comfy stories about friends and their adventures. Let's see what they say. Frog is late, said Toad. I am worried. What if Frog is lost in the woods? What if he is cold and wet and hungry? It was Christmas Eve. Toad's tree was shining and dinner was ready, but where was Frog? The two best friends were always together, taking walks in spring, eating ice cream cones in summer, sledding in the winter snow. What would Christmas be without Frog? A story for each season and a story for Christmas. Here is a rich, funny, beautiful book for children who already love Frog and Toad, and for those beginning readers who are meeting them now. And you can see where I was reading it and I dog-eared the pages, which is something I do to this day. I don't know. People keep giving me bookmarks, and I just dog-ear pages. Unless it's a library book, then I don't. But anyway, so this is Frog and Toad all year. Now, this is Frog and Toad together. I know, without a doubt, that I had a book called Frog and Toad Are Friends. And much to my chagrin, I cannot find that book anywhere. And I know I had it even when my boys were young, because I'd read it to them. I don't know what happened to it. It's kind of like bugging me, because I am sure it was a first edition, probably, because my mom would have bought it when I was small. Let's see what this one is. This book was published in 1971 and then again in 1972. So this is not a first edition. So maybe it wouldn't have been, actually. Hold on. 1976, first edition. Not that it matters, but I don't know. All right, this is Frog and Toad together, and here they are on a tandem bike, which when I was growing up, my friend Karen and I, she had a tandem, and we would ride all around Royal Oak on the tandem in the summertime. It was awesome. It was just so fun. We'd ride up to Save On Drugstore and buy candy. But we only did the tandem when we were younger, and then we had our 10 speeds later on, you know. But that was fun. I remember when we were younger. And I remember sitting on the back and putting my feet up, and she'd be like, you gotta help pedal. So this book has the chapters A List, The Garden, Cookies, Dragons and Giants, and The Dream. And it says, Toad likes flowers that Frog grew in his garden. Frog likes the chocolate chip cookies Toad baked. Frog and Toad are friends. Here are 5 delightful stories about 2 best friends who are always together. In Frog's garden or Toad's house, in their woods or on the mountain, and even in Toad's unusual dream. Many beginning readers met Frog and Toad in Frog and Toad Are Friends. They and new readers too will love their further adventures in this funny, fascinating, beautiful book. Yeah, so Frog and Toad Are Friends came out first, and then Together, and then All Year. And I read that Arnold Lobel, he was very sick when he was a child for a while and was out of school. And he started drawing pictures. And I think it was back then he started drawing the Frog and Toad pictures and got the ideas for the children's books. And he died in 1987. And so these books will be under, you know, whatever you call it, like copyright until 70 years after his death, I think. So I can't read these ones. But we can take a look through them, and we can read little excerpts. Like here he is in his garden. All the next day, Toad sang songs to his seeds. There's a pond near us where toads sing songs to their seeds, I swear. I guess they're probably bullfrogs, actually. And all the next day, Toad read poems to his seeds. And all the next day, Toad played music for his seeds. Toad looked at the ground. The seeds still did not start to grow. What shall I do? Cried Toad. These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world. Then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. I wonder what happened. Oh, look. It looks like the seeds are coming up. And there's Frog with his little cap on. So cute. They're so cute. I just love them. Here they are with cookies. Eating all the cookies. Dragons and giants. Ooh, there's a snake. Snake. Rocks falling down. At the theater. It's just so comfy. It's just like the most comfy. So those are the Frog and Toad. And like I said, there's some Frog and Toad Are Friends. Those are the 3 I know for sure I had. But, okay. But then, because I love these so much, my mom got me these other books. So this one is called Owl at Home. And there's Owl, and you guys know how much I love owls. I love owls. It still has the jacket on it. Now, I wonder, I noticed these are cut off. Right here, see that? I wondered if, see how it says ages 4 through 8? If I became older than 4 through 8, and my mom was like, I don't want her to see that because then she won't want to read them. And she cut that, because why are they all cut? I bet if I asked her, she'd go, no, I didn't do that. But it's weird. Why are they cut like that? I don't know. Anyway, so this is from 1975. This is the first edition, which just means it's the first printing of a book. And then, like, they'll do second edition, third edition. They print more copies if it sells well. You know, for some books it can mean it has more value, but I don't know about these. So the contents, we have The Guest, Strange Bumps, which I like remember so clearly. I don't know why. Tear Water Tea, Upstairs, Downstairs, Owl, and the Moon. It says, Owl loves his house. It has an upstairs and a downstairs. It has a cozy fireplace. There are books to read, and there is soup to eat on cold, frosty nights. Owl lives by himself, but he is not always alone. One night, winter comes into the living room. Another time, there are two strange bumps in his bedroom. And when Owl goes out for a walk in the dark, a round friend stays with him all the way home. Lovable Owl is sure to gain many other friends. The beginning readers he will delight and entertain in these 5 nighttime stories. I remember loving this book. So that one was somebody pounding at his door. The strange bumps. See the strange bumps? They're in his bed with him, and he doesn't know what they are. Tear Water Tea. I don't really remember that one. Probably too sad. I probably skipped it. But look here, I have dog-eared the page again. I was like, I gotta save my spot. I couldn't possibly remember that it's this chapter. Upstairs, downstairs. I'm looking for this one, Owl and the Moon. They give away who the round person is, or thing is following him in the title, but so Owl's walking home and he sees this and he's like, that's interesting. And then it just keeps. Oh, actually, he knows it's the moon the whole time, I guess. He says, I will come back and see you again, Moon, but now I must go home. Owl walked down the path. He looked up at the sky. The moon was still there. It was following him. There used to be this love song in the 80s. It was Linda Ronstadt and I can't think of the guy's name. But they sing, you know, about how wherever they are, they can look up at the same moon. And I remember in high school, I had a high school boyfriend, and I remember we were like apart, you know, like I was on vacation, and we're like, we can look at the same moon. Nerds. Anyway, Dear Moon, said Owl, you really must not come home with me. My house is small. You would not fit through the door, and I have nothing to give you for supper. And look, even from his window, he still sees the moon. And then he's sleeping all cozy, and the moon's looking after him. So sweet. So sweet. And there's Arnold Lobel right there. All right, so that is Owl at Home. And then I have this book, which is called Mouse Tales. Mouse Tales. And this one is so sweet. And you can see it was purchased at Toys R Us back in the old days. And this one was published in 1972. So this one also a first edition. these chapters, and it says, when 7 mouse boys are tucked in bed, they ask their papa to tell them a story. Papa does better than that. He tells 7 stories, 1 mouse tale for each mouse boy. There is a tale about a wishing well, an old mouse, a little boat. By the time the 7th tale is told, every mouse boy is fast asleep. But every beginning reader will want to start mouse tales all over again. This one's a little bit longer. You get a little more reading in it. Because you do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories. And so here's Papa with them all in bed. And he starts the wishing well. I remember this one. Yeah. That's a good one. Clouds. And these have like the little squares with little images, almost like, cartoon or something. Like, look at this. Look at that cloud. It looks like Cooper. The very tall mouse and the very short mouse. Yeah. The mouse and the winds. There's the wind blowing, blowing, blowing. The journey. There was a mouse who wanted to visit his mother. This is kind of cute because each sentence has. So he bought a car and started to drive to his mother's house. He drove and he drove and he drove until the car fell apart. But at the side of the road, there was a person selling roller skates. Sounds fun. Look, and then it has all these pictures. It's cute. Cute, cute, cute. The old mouse. There's the old mouse. The bath. This one, I don't know. I dog-eared this page, and then I must have fallen asleep really quick because I dog-eared one. The bath. And then there he is saying goodnight, but they're all asleep. And there he is with his little mousy wife by the fire with a picture of her or his mom or her mom or somebody by the fireplace. And the kids are all sleeping right here. It's so cozy. So cozy. So that is Mouse Tales. And then I have this book, which is called Mouse Soup. I love mouse soup. This may have been, I can tell my kids liked it too, I'm guessing, because I don't think I, perfect me, would have written in marker on my book. I think my children probably did that, but I don't know. I can't really blame them. If they were here, they'd be like, I don't even remember that book. Mouse soup. But don't worry, it's just on the outer cover. So this one was published in 1977, so I would have been 6, turning 7 years old. So, what does it say? Mouse soup. I am going to make mouse soup, said the weasel. I am going to be mouse soup, said the mouse. Wait, said the mouse, this soup will not taste good. It has no stories in it. Here are 4 stories to put in the soup. With each story, the weasel gets hungrier and hungrier, but when he tries to put the stories in his soup, the weasel finds out that the mouse stories do not make tasty soup. Beginning readers will be enchanted by this companion book to Mouse Tales, and they will want to read Mouse's 4 stories over and over again. Yeah, this one is like, it's almost like, Wes Anderson, how his movies will have like the story and then the person's telling the story, and so the movie you watch is the story the person's telling. That's like what this is, kind of. So the weasel grabs the mouse, takes him back to make soup. And the weasel's very hungry. But the mouse says, "Here are 4 stories to put in the soup." And then he tells him the stories of the bees in the mud, which was a good one. I remember this one. You know I love bees. 2 large stones. The crickets. The crickets. Yeah, crickets. Yeah, I remember this one. All these crickets. And then the thorn bush. And it's all about this thorn bush. And then the mouse says, "There, I have told you my stories. They will make your mouse soup taste really good." "All right," said the weasel, "but how can I put the stories into the soup?" "That will be easy," said the mouse. "Run outside and find a nest of bees, some mud, 2 large stones, 10 crickets, and a thorn bush. Come back and put them all into the soup." So then the weasel goes out looking for all the components of his soup. And he comes back with a thorn bush and bees. He has stings all over his head. And crickets. I forget what's this. The stones. I don't know what this is. Anyway. And in the meantime, the mouse has scurried away. And he made it safe home, and he lit a fire. I think oftentimes these books end with somebody sitting by their fire all cozy, reading a book. So that is Mouse Soup. So that's all the books I have. Even though, like I said, I know I have Frog and Toad are friends somewhere. It couldn't have disappeared. I have to find it. So let's put these in order. I think this was the earliest, right? No, Frog and Toad Brothers. 1972. What was this one? 1971, 72. Okay, so this is the oldest, and then probably Mouse Tail. So that's probably 71, 72. And then probably this one. Well, maybe this one. Let's see. This one is 76. Okay. Mouse Soup was later. Right? This was 77. Yep, 77. And this one is 75. Okay. So we have 71, 72, 75. Wait, what did we say? 77. Okay. 75. This was my memory, I swear. 76, 77. Okay. 77, 76, 75, 72, 71. And I think before this was Frog and Toad Are Friends. And there probably was something in between here that I'm missing, maybe. I'm not sure. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I may have had 6 or 8 because I had a box I used to keep them in, and they were stacked, and they were even stacks. And I thought, maybe I just had 6. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, let's see, what other books did he have? They tell us Mouse Tales. We have Owl at Home, Frog and Toad Are Friends, Frog and Toad Together, Frog and Toad All Year. So Frog and Toad Are Friends is definitely what I'm missing. And this one won the Newbery Honor Book And not one of them won like the Caldecott. Frog and Toad Are Friends, 1971 Caldecott Honor Book. Finalist for the 1971 National Book Award for Children's Literature. And then Frog and Toad Together, 1973 Newbery Honor Book. Honor Book, Book World's 1972. Owl at Home, ALA Notable Children's Book. Mouse Tales, Irma Simonton Black Award 1972.